of from all of planet Earth. From formerly, you survived on your own. You paid what was due in taxes, most of which presently was never due. You received your inheritance without a penalty, and that generated a type of wealth which was viewed jealously by all of planet Earth, which is why most of planet, specifically America, but the British Commonwealth nations in general. So I just want to be clear, because I know most people have all heard the conversation or heard the term Communist Party or the manifesto, and whether it's Stalinist or Marxist or Leninist, etc. And it seems to just, I guess we're all aware that a lot of what we're given in the media is a misrepresentation of the foundational facts of what the heck they're talking about. So when you listen to Barack Obama come on regularly and make a statement, I would advise everybody to view it seriously, because more than likely, and most of what I've heard is, the outcome will be the opposite of what he just said. It's not good. And we are brainwashed. We are understood to be easily and readily brainwashed, because we have a tendency to accept things we hear, especially if it comes from someone in a type of authority, that specifically an authority that we personally, by vote, might have given them. But just maybe write down the things he says over the next few months in preparation for Tabernacles, and write down what he said and then what actually took place. Most of what I was tracking over the last 6-8 months proved to be the exact opposite of what he said as to what was done. There's absolutely no reason for General Motors to go bankrupt or to be forced into it by orchestration by the Federal Reserve, which is a lot of the problem in America today. It only was put in power in the 1913. Before that, in the 1820s, Andy Jackson crushed it, threw it out of America, and fired 20% of the federal employees that participated in it. Now that's the type of leader that has the type of authority that is needed, is to protect genuine individual rights. Imagine Andy Jackson. Do a bit of research on him. He crushed a centralized national bank and believed that was the most important thing he did outside of everything else that he had done. Crushed it, and it didn't get back into power for another 76 or 7 years, I believe. So that period of the 1800s in America was the greatest period of growth any new nation or old nation or any nation on the planet had ever seen. It was based on a gold standard, not based on paper money that is based on debt. It's not real money. And where did all these ideas come from? Well, you'll find them summed up in the manifesto of the Communist Party. So it's on the website. You can click it or print it out if you wish. I'm not going to be reading it as a paper. It's a long paper, and I believe everybody understands what they're listening to here. So I just want to touch on the highlights of it. So, Manifesto of the Communist Party was originally published in 1848 by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Friedrich Engels provided most of the financial support for Marx and the publications, and really was the founder of European style of communism. So just so you're clear, Marx, Engels, and whether you arise in Stalin, it then continues on up into Pol Pot, and what you have taking place in former Rhodesia, Zimbabwe. Every place these people took power, they tried to destroy the aristocracy, and if there was a monarchy, the crown. And in every single place, they put the person who was the prominent face of the change or the attack or the assault on the former regime, they made themselves a monarch. Pol Pot did the same. You have it taking place in supposed Rhodesia. Well, actually, it was now called Zimbabwe, where these individuals that take power won't leave, they won't resign, they won't retire, and they put their sons or their offspring in power. The most flagrant version of that is in, of course, North Korea. Now, when you have the Koreans overturning the old order there, destroying the type of system that they had in place, I'm calling it an aristocracy of type, it could be just warlords, but the effect of it is still the same. So the individual who overtook North Korea put his son in control. And I'm sure you'll see within the next few years, if he dies, and he may, his son will take place. So therefore, you will have a virtual monarchy in place. So everything they stated they were against, they will implement. And you'll see that everywhere in the world, they will not give up authority until they're thrown out. And brethren, what you're seeing with the last 100 years of communist takeovers of 60 to 70% of planet Earth is going to be implemented in the Pacific, in the West. So that's the Northwest Europe and North America and South America. Now, in effect, it already is accomplished. So if you just even read the first 3 pages of this, I think you'll see this. So I'd like to just cover this a little bit. So the theory of the communists may be summed up in a single sentence: the abolition of private property. So the Communist Manifesto was first published in February 1848 in London, England. It was written by Karl Marx, Frederick Engels for the Communist League, that's the European Communist League, that was trying to come into prominence in Central and Western Europe at the time. A manifesto is a public declaration of intentions, opinions, objectives, or motives as one issued by a government, a sovereign, or an organization. And understand what sovereign means, right? So this is an individual who holds control, whether it's through a crown, or as Genghis Khan held control, or as other warlords hold control. Control of the population in each nation is almost complete and will be when the new cashless financial system is enacted. So in the West, you have all been put onto debt currency, fiat currency, which has no true value. In fact, it's valueless. And all of your rights for 600 to 800 years since the British common law was put into effect through a lot of the nations of the world, and the rights of inheritance and the rights of property, but you'll see that shortly. But where we're heading is this, the Federal Reserve and the European banking community, Rothschilds, etc., have caused the gold standard to be removed by them taking 52 or 3% of the whole planet Earth's gold. Well, they removed the gold standard and the use of gold and silver, but they kept it all. So there can't be too much of a problem with having gold. In the 1930s, America was for all of its gold to the Federal Reserve, which then within 12 to 15 years, all was shipped to Europe, and the Federal Reserve does not have to account for anything. Now, all you family farms, you all have to account. All you individual people, you all have to account or go to jail. And the Federal Reserve, after, heading for 80 years, is the only corporation on the planet that doesn't have to account for its financial activities. So, a new cashless financial system will be enacted. It may take another 2 or 3 or so years to initiate or institute, to where credit cards and other things will be shown to be ineffectual or able to be stolen, etc. And you'll end up with a chip, whether it's in your right hand or forehead or wherever it is, or maybe it's a tattoo or some other mechanism. But that's where you're heading into. So just watch as it happens.